Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome to the 2024 Christmas Cheer-tacular, as I am dubbing it. I did this last year. I only did 3 Christmas movies. I'm a little late to the party. I meant to get one out on December 1st. Just didn't happen. This is very similar to my Halloween Spooktacular that I do every year, except this time I'm hoping to have Christmas decorations as a background. I was planning to have that for Halloween this year, and it didn't happen, but I'm going to be putting up my Christmas decorations today, so hopefully for the rest of this Christmas Cheer-tacular that I talk about this year, I'll be in the background of Christmas decorations. The first Christmas movie we're going to be talking about for this Cheer-tacular is 1984's Gremlins, directed by Joe Dante, written by Chris Columbus, and produced by Steven Spielberg. That's like the ultimate trifecta right there, like the perfect 80s, 90s, early 2000s filmmaking trifecta. You can even throw Robert Zemeckis in there. Of course, I had to talk about Gremlins. Now, a little bit of background on Gremlins for me. I've only seen this movie twice beforehand, and I was a late bloomer coming to Gremlins. I was never one to watch Gremlins when I was little because I had known about it, but I just never got around to watching it for some reason. We never had the VHS, we never had the DVD. It was never on at Christmas time. A Christmas Story always occupied every single channel 24/7 on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Even in the days following Christmas, if you're very Catholic and you follow the 12 days of Christmas, A Christmas Story was still playing until January 6th. So I never experienced Gremlins as a kid. I have no attachment to Gremlins. I haven't even seen the second Gremlins yet, which is crazy because I'm 30 years old. Man, I haven't seen Gremlins 2. And I know there's going to be a Gremlins 3, but hands down, Gremlins is a very enjoyable Christmas film. I can see why it is a classic. It is revered as a classic by many. It has those quintessential staples of like Joe Dante from the 80s and 90s, where he would just make something that feels like it doesn't fit in with what he's trying to do, but then all of a sudden it just goes batshit crazy. He's the perfect director for a movie like this, and a perfect producer for a movie like this is Steven Spielberg, because he had gone through hell and back again making Jaws with mechanical sharks. Obviously, this is a time in Hollywood where they didn't have a lot of CGI at their disposal. A lot of the creatures in this movie, like Gizmo and the rest of the Gremlins, they're all animatronics. And thank God, can we get back, please, Hollywood, to using animatronics in movies instead of CGI? I get CGI creates jobs for visual effects artists, but there's just something more tangible about watching a movie that you know there's animatronics and practical effects. It's like Star Wars when they used tangible everyday items that were in effect as props for that movie. That's what I really love about Gremlins, is all the animatronic work. Somehow they made it work, and somehow they made Gizmo as cute as could be. They did not make the other Gremlins, though, as cute as could be, because they are fucking evil. When shit starts to hit the fan in the second half, that's where I'm having a lot of fun. I know that the movie came out after Gremlins came out, but all 3 times I've seen Gremlins, I'm reminded of Small Soldiers, just that type of tone, where it starts off a little bit slow and then everything just goes batshit crazy in the second half. And not to mention, this does take place on Christmas, and when the movie starts, you wouldn't even believe that this is a Christmas movie, because it's about a father trying to find the perfect toy in Chinatown for his son, but he's buying it for his son on Christmas Eve. And then we cut to the opening credits, accompanied by a Christmas carol and snow and everything. People are celebrating Christmas. It does have that holiday cheer and feel to it, even though it is a bit of a darker fantasy movie. And quite frankly, this is, along with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, one of the movies that inspired the PG-13 rating. The PG-13 rating wasn't in effect in 1984. 2 weeks after this movie was released, it started to get implemented, and it's been in effect ever since, because there were so many scenes in this movie that, despite being a Christmas movie and taking place on Christmas, despite getting Gizmo as an early Christmas present, there's some pretty dark shit in here, like Mrs. Deagle. Slimy witch. Dog hater. I already don't like her. And then you find out that she's a cat lover. Is this her whole motivation? I have no idea. But man, I'm allergic to cats, so thank God I love dogs. And thank God Barney the dog is not killed in that scene where he's hanging from the Christmas lights. They had their limitations back then, even when it got dark. But one of the best scenes in the entire movie is when all the batshit crazy stuff starts to go down, and all the gremlins are loose, like Stripe, I think that's his name, the main crazy one. He and his army of gremlins are just going to town. They're going all over town, attacking everybody, attacking houses, causing traffic collisions because they're messing with the traffic lights. It's really fun stuff. But one of my favorite sequences in this movie is when they mess with Mrs. Deagle's wheelchair that comes down the stairs, like the automatic wheelchair. She goes flying up the stairs. It's one of the more shocking moments of the film because flying up the stairs, through the bedroom and straight out that window. One of the more shocking scenes, but also one of the more unintentionally funny scenes, but also one of the more horrific scenes. And there are some disgusting shit in this movie. The kitchen scene, for instance, when Lynn is taking on all the gremlins in the kitchen, that has some pretty intense gore. Like the one gremlin that cuts himself up in the blender, the one gremlin that gets fried in the microwave. There's some pretty graphic stuff there. And you know what? Good bloody shit in the 80s. Even for a Christmas movie. Good bloody shit. I miss when filmmakers were on this level, when they were actually daring to push the limits of certain ratings. Like, this is rated PG. This pushes the limits of PG. This pushes the limits of what a family Christmas movie can be. We've seen other movies that have pushed the limits of what a actual Christmas movie can be with Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. Maybe I'll talk about those this cheertacular. But those were rightfully rated R, and they had to be rated R. They knew that they were rated R. It's not like they were pushing the R rating to a new rating or something. This pushes the PG rating towards like what eventually became PG-13, and I totally get it. I think one of my least favorite parts of Gremlins, though, is probably how stupid some of the adults are. This happens a lot in 80s and early 90s movies where you have main characters, particularly in slasher films, going into a police station trying to explain the situation to the police, and the police are just like, yeah, sure, I'll just smoke my cigarette while you just stand here and act crazy and drunk. And yeah, sheriff, put him in a cell. I think he should spend the night here. Yeah, we're gonna do nothing. And then they get a call and they go out and do something. It's like, oh shit, maybe the kid was right. It's one of those tropes that was very popular in the 80s and the early 90s, maybe even the early 2000s. That is probably my one weakness. And maybe it's because I came to Gremlins so late that I really just don't find that trope all that effective anymore. Even though it hasn't been done in modern movies, I've seen it done so much in like 80s and 90s movies where I'm just like, okay, now I know where we're going with this. But I totally get why Gremlins is a classic and why people watch it all the time at Christmas, because it is a Christmas movie. It does evoke that Christmas spirit. Like, you get Gizmo as a present, and then I guess the rest of the movie, Christmas just kind of fades into the background as they're trying to deal with all of these different gremlins that they have to take care of, but it does evoke that spirit. Even if the opening scene of the movie doesn't really feel like it's evoking the Christmas spirit. Like, it feels like a completely different movie, and that's a really nice trick that Joe Dante does to get you to be like, is this going to be a Christmas movie? Is this going to be a family-oriented movie? We shall see. And then it turns into a Christmas movie. But I love all the Christmas happenings in the background, like the gremlins coming to sing Christmas carols to Mrs. Deagle before they kill her. Smart stuff. And Gremlins, yes, is definitely a Christmas classic. That's why I'm talking about it for the Cheertacular, and I'm going to give Gremlins an A-. It's a really fun film. I could see why it's a classic. I've just never been endeared to it like others have because I've come to it so late and I've seen it so few times. But if you have seen Gremlins, let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I will see you at the movies somewhere.